Hello everyone, welcome back to the Tech Tidbit. How are you all? I hope that everyone has been doing well and has been able to stay safe during this time. So today's episode of the Tech Tidbit, we will be discussing technology and how it's played an impact in education. And so today I will be having a special guest, student representative to the Newport News School Board, Jordan D. Moody, who will be joining me here today to have a discussion about not only his role as student representative, but how technology has really changed the landscape of where we are today in education. And so he will begin, and so our interview will begin in just one moment. Stay tuned. Hello everyone. So today I have my special guest, student representative to the school board, Jordan D. Moody. Thank you so much for joining me here today.
Well, it's just an honor. Happy to be here. Honored to share on your platform with you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely. And so, first of all, how has it been so far for you? Being the student rep in such a interesting and unique environment to our own time.
Truly, it has been unique, very unique, very different. But I wouldn't trade any of it in for the world because one, it's molded me, and two, I've still walked in doing the same thing that I wanted to walk in doing, even when I didn't know that we would start virtual. And that is impacting lives, and that is connecting with the 29,000 students whom attend Newport News Public Schools. Of course, there have been some bumps in the roads. Of course, there have been some new things that we had to add, and some things, of course, that we had to take away. But through the support of Newport News Public Schools and my personal mentors and guiders, it's been amazing, and I would not trade any of it in for the world.
That is such a great answer to that question. And so, getting into this interview, so, before becoming the student rep, how was your interaction with the online environment? Like, were you able to figure it out, um, or was it a challenge for you within the end of last school year?
Well, I try to, just because of my faith and different upbringings of myself, I try to find the positives in everything. So yeah, it was definitely challenging, and I'm not going to sit here and say that it's not challenging even now. But I'm happy that I've been able to press forward, and I think that's because of the great teachers in which I have this year, and even the great teachers in which I had last year. It's really been it's been a good experience for me.
That is really great to hear. And so, I know for you, student outreach has always been a very important thing to you, especially when becoming the student representative. And so, even though we're in this virtual environment, how have you been able to really like continue on with that vision? And what is your full vision in terms of being able to get like improved student outreach among the different students?
Well, I would say, one, I'm big on family. You know
Yeah.
that. Many people know that now, and that's really what I walked in on. Even when I applied to be student rep and ran through the whole process of competing against the other student leaders within Newport News Public Schools, that's what I said, that I wanted each and every person to know that they are someone in this very large school division. There's 29,000 students. And so, with 29,000 students, it's hard, even with our senior leadership, even with the teachers, the principals, it's hard to reach every single student because it's 29,000 of them.
Yeah.
But that was really my objective, to let each and every student know that one, we can't make it without them, and two, that they are important. And we would not be Newport News Public Schools if it were not for each and every person who makes up Newport News Public Schools. So that's what I wanted to do. That's what I'm still trying to do. It's difficult, of course, especially in this virtual reality in which we see ourselves. But that's really what I want to do, to let you know, to let students know rather, that we still need you. We love you here in Newport News Public Schools, and that if I can do anything as your student representative to the school board, you can take it to the bank, put a check on it, that I am going to do everything possible to help you in that manner.
I just want to take a moment to just admire your enthusiasm and the fact that you've always been very devoted to, to doing this, especially, now, of course, within this very important role. And so do you believe that your role has become even more important, especially like with these new circumstances that we're in?
I think that my role hasn't been become more important. I think that what I say, my actions and my words have become more important, because it's been easy to smile and wave and say that you represent 29,000 students. And this it is cute and it looks good to do that and to wear your suit and to put on the tie. But now more than ever, we need people that's going to go out and do something and call students and hold Zooms with students late in the midnight hours and email students back and forth to really see how they're doing. And to two, it's been so difficult because students now have this really mentality of wanting to quit. And that's because it's been hard. It's been hard as a country, it's been hard as a city, and it's been hard individually. And so I think that while my role hasn't become more important, I have been stressing on the fact to tell each and every student that we need you. It's just like that. We need you. Don't quit. It looks bad right now, but like I was told one day, the rainbow always comes after a storm, meaning that there's going to be something good that comes after, no matter what craziness we're facing right now.
That is really a great analogy to use. And like I am probably after this meeting, I'm gonna write that down because that is just I just really have always enjoyed the way that you really incorporate all of this into your leadership roles. No matter which of your many roles you've played throughout the years. And so for you, social media, I know, has played a big role within your time here as student representative, and it has played also a large role within that outreach that you were mentioning earlier that you are truly championing. And so, for you, how did the social media part come to you? I mean, I know it was probably just natural for you, but are you able to tell us a little bit more about how you're using social media to reach out to the students?
Yeah, first, let me go ahead and be honest for a second. I'm young, but I'm old. So it took a lot for me to learn really how to use all of this social media stuff and the depth in which I knew I would have to use it. But really, what made me use it, one, because I knew, like I said, walking into this, that I wanted to reach everyone, and there's no
Absolutely.
better way than reaching everyone than to be going on social media, because everyone's on social media. Or not everyone, but a good majority of the people or the students are on social media. That's the first thing. But then when I walked into it, what happened? COVID happened. And so I knew that I would not be campusing schools like I was used to, because nobody's in the school.
Yeah.
And so I knew that social media had to be the only way for me to outreach. And so what I did was I said, well, I'm not going to stop here. I know that if I were to be going to schools, then I would ask to talk to students who were in detention or in ISS or who were failing. And I would know that I wanted to talk with them and let them know, hey, I see how it is right now, but you can push through it. You can keep going. So what did I do? I created the Monday Motivation with Moody. And so then from there, that was my way of still pushing that motivational quote, or that motivational video for that week into the atmosphere, even through social media. So, it's been difficult. While I would love to see people face to face, I think that social media has helped me. One, because I'm still able to DM, I'm still able to text, I'm still able to FaceTime if somebody wanted to FaceTime me on Instagram.
Yeah.
I think that all of that is really what made this process easier, because while I think that I'm alone because I'm typing through a screen, really I can feel the energy and the love from myself to the student, or from the student to myself, even through the screen.
Yeah, that is really like a good way of putting it. And yeah, many of us do really feel that like alone when you're typing to a screen, or especially like with social media. And it has played such a big role in a lot of people's lives. And so, using that same platform that oftentimes people look at as, like waste your time, is destructive, and so many other different parts of it, that you're able to use that platform to help motivate other, the student body, really. I think that is really commendable. And I just really like the way that you've been doing it. And I've been watching your Monday motivations as you've been doing them. And like I said, they really are, great, and help, with the motivation process for these students. And so I definitely want to thank you for doing that.
Yes, sir.
And
Of course. Yeah, I'm telling you, I learn something new every time I do it. I've learned that there's different dimensions in videos. Learned a lot about editing through this process, so it really has taught me a lot. And I really, when I say that, I wouldn't trade any of it in, the goods and the bads. I'm grateful for it all.
yeah, absolutely. And before I go to this next question, what you just said just made me think of another question, and that is, so, within the past year or so, like from the beginning of the pandemic to now, has your thoughts about, you know, how we use the internet and how we use social media changed at all? Like, do you feel as if, like you have different opinions or thoughts about it, especially after having assumed, this role of doing, your normal Monday motivations and other social media outreaches?
Well, I know this. Many people before the pandemic, pre-pandemic, hated technology. They hated social media. You couldn't find anything positive, they say, on social media. And it was always so tricky because you had to add a friend and press a button and
Yeah.
click this and click that. But now, what do we see? We're doing church online. We are doing school online. We are sending different messages and emails. We don't do letters anymore. And so I would say that it's been a positive to show that even though it looked like everything was negative, we turned social media and the internet in general into positive. And so I think that there's a lesson in everything. And that's the lesson of the internet, that even, when things look bad and when you think someone can't do any better, or when you think that this can't get any worse, you just have to turn that into positive. There's always a way of turning the negative things into a positive. And so, that's really been my lesson on it, that I know how the internet used to be, but what you put out there can always shape it to be something totally different.
Yeah, that is just a really good way of putting that. And so that almost leads into, the next question of, technology has been playing an increasing role within schools for years. And we've seen this, especially during the time that we've been in school. And so really I feel like during this pandemic time, it's almost been like the big push, considering that we were all using virtual learning. And even for me at the college level, I'm still am learning virtually, this time by choice. But how do you see like the role technology plays within the classroom having shifted throughout the years from both pre-pandemic, to now, and then how about the future as well? I know, there's really no way to know for certain, but that's something that I think is like a really interesting thing to look at. I'd asked the question on my show, at the end of 2019, and as much as we have predicted things, we never could have predicted this pandemic. So, what are your thoughts about this?
I think that once again it goes back to there's lessons in everything. Let me tell you first. I absolutely love. Now, let me say that
Yeah.
now. I love the platform of online school,
Mhm.
simply because it's like you have a personal assistant right there. When I don't turn something in, it's red and hey Jordan, you need to turn this in. You need to turn this in. And when I've turned it in, it celebrates it for me. It celebrates for me. I click submit, then confetti falls all through the screen. It's just different things like that that I like. And also a lesson that I am so grateful for is that I knew that somewhere along the lines I was going to have to take online class in
Yeah.
college. I knew that. And I want to go get my doctorate. So I knew that I probably would not be inside of school when I get my master's or even when I get my doctorate. So what did it do? It pushed me and it showed me already the something that many people, it takes them longer to do, or maybe it's that college atmosphere to do it, and that is surrounding and surviving rather the online school. And so that's I love it. I love it. It taught me a lot. I'm ready to go to college, even if it means virtually, because I know now how to navigate it early on. And so that's really been good for me. And I'm happy that we have this new source. I heard that when we go back to school, it's not gonna be as much pencil and paper. We're gonna do stuff electronically. And it just shows that lesson that you have to go with the times. You keep moving, you keep pressing through the times because things are gonna change.
Would there be anything that you would like, I guess, miss from virtual learning when you do return back to in person, whether it's now or in college or in the future, if ever?
Let me be honest. This has been a blessing time for me, and this is why. We know, or that we have 90 minutes throughout the each class. We know that, right?
Yes.
But in Newport News, at least, we have 60 minutes of instruction and then 30 minutes of asynchronous work. And that is our opportunity to complete the work right then. Right then, we can complete the work. We have Wednesdays off. We have an hour for lunch. It's things like that that, of course, I'm going to miss. But really, that asynchronous time. I think if someone were to call me today and say, Jordan, what do you think? I think that forever on out, we need to allow students the opportunity to uh, do that work in class. Because I know for me, what made my grades suffer was when I learned in school,
Yeah.
then stayed after because I'm the assistant athletic director. So then what did I have to do? We had to go make sure everything was all right with practices. And then after practices, we had a game to go to. So then I wouldn't get home till 9 o'clock. And so the same thing that I learned 9 o'clock in the morning, I have to go and do at 9 o'clock in the evening. And so I forget it. And so then when I forget it and I get problems wrong, then what do? Never mind, I'm not going to even worry about it. And so I think that those type of things, allowing those students to, as soon as it's fresh on your mind, submitting it right then. I think that was the greatest thing that I took out of virtual learning. I love it.
Yeah, that really brings up a very important point. And with virtual learning, we can like help establish our own discipline almost, and really take into account that okay, this is our schedule. Let's see how I can really go about my day. And being a college student now, this is really something that is a good takeaway. Being able to compose your own, almost like your own schedule, of course, not as flexible as a college schedule, for a school system, but but even still, you get to learn that early on than a lot of students previously would. And so I think that's a good thing to take away. And
I
okay.
know that a lot of students, if they use this time correctly, this is the opportunity to bring up your grade and to really, to serve you well. Now that I say I hope so, because what they may look at, and this is what disappoints me, is that some students don't do that. Some
Very true.
students they get out of Zoom and go play 2K or play Madden. And of course, I'm gonna watch my Netflix, but I'm gonna make sure that that assignment is completed before I do that. And that's, really, even when we do go back into class, we have to make sure that if they're giving us this opportunity, that we need to make sure that we take advantage of that opportunity that has been afforded to us.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. And I know, like, for me personally, I always really enjoy being able to like manage my time and, really like take into account the different stuff that's happening. And so it might be, okay, I'm going to work later today. So I want to go get, so and so assignments out of the way in the, as early in the day as possible. So I have that time left over. Cause I agree with you, like with how you were saying that, for you, it was really the end of the day by the time you really had the chance to do these assignments earlier. And so, being able to do them earlier on in the day, I think is really beneficial for a lot of people.
Yes, sir. Definitely. Definitely. It is very beneficial.
And so for you, I know how you were saying that not everyone really takes these opportunities. And so how is the interaction in like between the teachers and the students been like for you? Does everyone like have their cameras on and interacting with the teacher, or is there times where you can essentially meet up after class and get to know your teachers because you no longer have that in-person interaction that you used to in physical class? And so I'm kind of curious about how those interactions go, within a virtual environment for high school.
Right. I think that, well, I don't think, I know that it's basically, as you know, it's on a teacher by teacher basis.
Okay.
For the most part, I can say that, of course, people don't turn on their cameras, but you don't know, you never know what's behind someone's camera screen. You never
Very
know
true.
what someone else's house looks like. And everyone isn't as fortunate as you and I are to have a separate room that is dedicated solely for us to complete assignments. And so, many people are doing stuff in their bedroom and doing classes in the kitchen, and so I understand that, but I think that what makes students stay is the engagement of the teacher. I have this favorite teacher, and I'm going to go ahead and say her name. I love her this year. Her energy, her passion. She takes science and turns it into life lessons. That's Mrs. Anderson. She is an amazing, phenomenal teacher. I'm blessed to have her for second semester as well. And I mean, when I tell you, her energy, you walk into the class, and it's not just "Are you here? Are you here?" You walk into the class listening to music, and then once the music is done, then she greets you individually. It's not attendance; it's a greeting. I'm happy to hear your voice today. How you been? How's your family? And it's that type of stuff that keeps students inside of a class. And so I'm very fortunate for that. But that's not every teacher. And so I am blessed when we do walk across or experience teachers such as her.
Yeah, that is great to hear that that class is really engaging. And yeah, like for me, like for most of my high school career, like I had always really enjoyed all of my classes and getting to know all of my teachers. And so, it's a little disappointing, like in a virtual environment, to not be able to get the same opportunities for every class. But I'm glad to hear that, that for at least for your schedule, that there are still, a lot of interactions and engagements that are still going on, and hopefully will increase, throughout within the next, throughout the rest of the semester, essentially. And
Right.
so one of the things I wanted to mention was that, in this virtual environment, I know that that for you, you had come up with this summer the idea for what is now the Vibe Student Talk Show. And so, are you able to tell me a little bit about like what was the idea behind it, and did it have anything to really do with this current pandemic, or was it just by coincidence that came out during it? Of course, I know I have some experience with helping you with that, but how was that really?
Well, I would say it's been a blessing, a true blessing. It was a blessing in disguise. I didn't think that when we had the Vibe Student Led Talk Show, that it would be now a group of 60 students from all
Wow,
across of Newport News Public Schools. And so when we thought of this, of course, no, we were thinking studios. We were thinking Wavy TV 10 would be with us, and that we would have some people that's helping us, and we would go to studios and have these big field trips and all this great stuff. But of course, we've been confined to the computer screen.
absolutely.
Uh, and I can't express how proud I am of them even through all of that. The Vibe Student Led Talk Show hosted a return to learn block party for 29,000 students plus the teachers, plus the staff, Dr. Parker was there. The chief of police was there. We had a video that came in from the mayor of Newport News. And so the Vibe Student Led Talk Show did all that. And it's all about student voice. And that's what I wanted when we started this to once again let the students know that it's about your voice. Your voice has power. What you say has power. We had a student. We started doing weekly or daily for Black History Month. We started doing daily facts, and so one student alone, Kaylee Malone, she got over 300 views on just her 30-second Black History fact.
Wow.
And so it's been impactful. She is in elementary school, so we have students from all over, and I'm happy that student voice is being heard, and it's really we get senior staff all the time that calls. When's the next block party? When's the next show? And that really shows that it doesn't matter how old you are, how you can still listen to students, and students still have some good stuff to say. And I'm honored that we had yourself. I'm honored that we had Michael. I'm honored that we have Andres to kind of lay the foundation to start this great work that now Ivy Edlow and Yanellis Jones have taken over and kind of ran with it and are doing great, great, great things with it. I'm happy, 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 and very proud of the Vibe Student Led Talk Show.
Yeah, I'm really glad to hear it, and that you're doing well. Best of luck to to everyone that's a part of it, and yourself included, of course. And so, while we're wrapping this up, I did want to ask, so what advice do you have to students who may not be able to fully learn right now within the virtual learning environment, or even just in general? Do you have any advice for for them who may be watching?
I would say, first, remember that, it's hard for everyone. It's hard for everyone. Um, but if you're still here, that means that you still have some records that you have to break, personal records that you have to break. You still have some things that the world needs from you. We've been in a deadly pandemic. We saw insurrections on our nation's capital. We see racism at the forefront every single day. But if you're still here, then that means that you can still make a positive impact. And while it may be difficult, while it may be hard, while it may be stressful, that's what I know it is. It's stressful to see every time you walk on the news that something else is happening. You keep like Councilman Harris says, Dr. Harris, he says, keep pressing forward. And I think that no matter how bad it looks right now, you can still keep pressing forward. And if you ever need anything, if you ever need somebody to talk to know that I really am here. And I'm proud of each and every one of the students and the teachers, and even you, Brandon, college students, because what you are breaking a history. You're making history right now. Nobody thought that we would be on a whole year full of virtual education. No one thought that. But you're making history, and you're continuing to defy all of the odds that have been set against you. So for that, you keep pressing forward. And even when it gets tough, you just know that you're still doing great things.
Yeah, I really love what you just said. And like I said, I would like to thank you for being here. And is there any last things that you really wanted to say before we close out this interview, or any comments, remarks, or questions for me?
I would just like to thank you, Brandon, once again for allowing me the opportunity to come on your platform. I'm very honored, happy for you, proud, extremely proud of you, and I know that you're going to continue to do great things. And for that, I give honor to you already for the things in which you will do even years down the road. Thank you. I love my Newport News Public Schools family. I love and thank everyone for their support of me, and I'm just happy to keep on tackling things daily as they come. I'm happy to keep on tackling things. I want to thank Dr. Parker and his senior staff, of course, for all that they are doing. And then I would like to thank our youth development department, Mrs. Adams, Ms. Buckingham, Mr. Nichols, and Mr. Ransom for their support and guidance shown to me every day. So, yes, sir. Thank you once again for the opportunity.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And truly, though, have a great rest of your semester. Finish out strong, and I will definitely keep in contact with you.
Yes, sir. Please do.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Once again, thank you so much to Student Representative Moody for joining me here on today's episode of the Tech Tidbit. Thank you to everyone who made this episode possible. And also, before I close out, a big thank you to each and every one of you. Thank you so much for what you do. Whether you're helping out the community, just simply doing work, or even just helping out a neighbor. Thank you for being you and for doing your part. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Stay safe, stay well. And this is Brandon K. Hedgepeth, signing off.